This video, I'll be going over how I roll for a recipe. The first of this video is going to be a really quick breakdown of how I roll for a recipe. After that, I'll get a little more in-depth about how the lists are all broken down, and you can take a quick look at my cookbook list if you would like. Our first step is to take out my binder here full of my cookbook list. Then we will open it to the categories page. I'll break down each category a little bit more in the second half of this video. But for now, number 1 is as seen on TV. Number 2 is local and family. 3 is the kitchen sink. 4 miscellaneous. 5 niche. 6 player's choice. You then need to roll a 6-sided dice to choose the category. For this roll, I got a 2, so our category is local and family. The local and family list is broken down into 3 sections, so I need to roll for which section I'll be selecting a cookbook out of. I'll be rolling a d6. How this works is if I get a 1 or 2, it equals 1. 3 or 4 equals 2. 5 or 6 equals 3. That will tell me which third of the list I'll be selecting a book out of. I rolled a 5, so I'll be selecting off the bottom third of this. Since we landed on the bottom third of that list, I now get to roll a d8. I rolled a 1, so that is the first book in that section, which is the 19th book on the list. That means we have selected Cookin' in Cardinal Country from Hamilton, Illinois Elementary School. I am now going to open it to a random page, then select one of the recipes off that page that I want to cook. You can see here my options were brownies, Heath Bar coffee cake, or sponge pudding cake. I chose sponge pudding cake. You'll have to watch today's video to see if I regret that or not. That was the quick breakdown. If you're not completely bored yet, you can keep watching and I'll break down the roll process a little bit more and kind of go through each recipe list so you can see a little more what's going on there. If you're not sticking around, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'll start by breaking down each category. Category 1 is as seen on TV. This category has cookbooks from celebrity chefs, TV shows and movies, other related things like cookbooks from YouTube channels, or the Dungeons and Dragons cookbooks. Feel free to pause and take a look at this list if you want to know what cookbooks I have in this category. Category 2 is local and family. This category has cookbooks from clubs, organizations, schools, family, very limited quantity prints, a lot of fundraising cookbooks. Some examples are our favorite recipes from St. Cecilia Catholic Church in Ames, Iowa, Gift of Hope Cancer Foundation cookbook, the Keokuk Spirit cookbook, and both of my grandma's cookbook. Category number 3 is called the kitchen sink. This category is mostly like the big mass-printed cookbooks with multiple categories of recipes. A lot of cookbooks that you probably know and love are in this category, like some of the Betty Crocker cookbooks, the Taste of Home cookbook, some Better Homes and Gardens cookbooks. Category 4 is miscellaneous. Currently, all this category says is from the binders and other. I have 6 binders or so. One of them has small cookbooks in it, like the promotional cookbooks you would get from like Ritz or Hershey. Just the tiny few page ones that would get lost in the big cookbook. Then the other 5 is just random crap. I inherit or get gifted a lot of recipe collections. So these binders are mostly magazine and newspaper clippings, the little recipe cards that you used to get in the mail in the 90s and 2000s, or those little recipe cards that Walmart or Hy-Vee used to give out in like the meat or seafood section. All that crap, I tried to bring it together and organize it some and put it in sheet protectors or glue it to pieces of paper so that it wasn't just in a big box like how I got it. So that's why this is called miscellaneous. If I ever get something that I absolutely can't figure out what to do with, it'll probably get thrown in this category. Category 5 is niche. These are cookbooks dedicated to one food or food type. In this category, I have things like vegan cookbooks or a Chinese cookbook, main dish soups, wild game cookbook, the Jell-O salad selector, which I hope to never select to cook a recipe out of, just books dedicated to one type of food. Category 6 is player's choice. If I land on there, then I get to pick what I want to cook. The next thing I'm going to cover is how I roll for each category. I'll try to explain this as quickly and painlessly as possible. As we have established, I'll roll a d6 to select the category. Since each category does not have the same number of books, I have to roll different for each category. So for As Seen on TV, for this category, I broke it down into 3 sections. Each section has 9 books in it, so I'll roll a d6 to decide what section I'm going to select a book out of. Once one of the thirds has been selected, I'll roll a d10 to figure out which book I need. If I roll a 0, which equals a 10, I'll re-roll since each third only has 9 books. If category 2, local and family, has been selected, it is also broke down into thirds, so I would roll a d6 again to select what third. The thirds are not even, so I have to roll a little different for each one. For grouping 1 and 2 of this list, I will roll a d10, and if I roll a 0, it's a re-roll because there's only 9 books in each one of those sections. Then if I get the third grouping, I'll roll a d8 because that section has 8 books. If category 3, the kitchen sink, is selected, once again, this one has 3 sections that I broke it down into. Currently, each one of the thirds has 10 books. So after I rolled for the third, I then roll a d10 to find the book that I'm going to cook out of. If I land on category 4, which is miscellaneous, I then roll a d6 because there are 6 binders, so that's super complicated. Category 5, niche, I will roll a d6 again because it is also broke down into thirds. I will then roll a d12 for section 1 and 2. If I roll a 12, it's a reroll because there is only 11 books in each one of those sections. If I land on section 3, there's 12 books, so no need for a reroll. If I land on category 6, player's choice, I don't need to do anything. Once I find the cookbook that we are going to cook out of, I will open it to a random page and select a recipe off that page. The original plan was to type up all the recipes and kind of roll for each recipe in each cookbook. After about a week of trying to type up all the recipes, I realized that for some reason, cookbook authors were against table of content, and I did not have the next 2 years to dedicate to typing up all of the recipes. So this is what I landed on. There are probably better ways to do this, but here we are. If you have made it this far, you're definitely stronger-willed than I am. And hopefully this made some kind of sense. Thank you for sitting through all of this. Like and subscribe.